The Conjuring, an extremely popular horror franchise that follows the most notable cases of the world's most famous paranormal investigators, Ed and Lorraine Warren. The real stories of these cases are much darker than you might think. So the Perron family moved onto the Arnold estate in the year 1971 and started noticing strange things happening right away. According to Andrea, they started smelling rotten flesh around the house, and their beds would aggressively rise off the floor while they slept. After contacting the Warrens, when Lorraine conducted a seance, during which Carolyn became possessed, her chair levitated and she was thrown across the room. Third man syndrome. In times of crisis, it is often reported that people will hear, feel, or even see a presence who will give them words of encouragement or advice, and even sometimes lead them to safety. In 1916, an Irish explorer named Ernest Shackleton became stranded in Antarctica after his ship was trapped in ice. He and two others from his crew made a 36-hour-long trek over mountains and glaciers to a whaling station, and during that trip reported feeling like there was a fourth man alongside them. T.S. Eliot wrote a poem called The Wasteland inspired by these events, and asked, "Who is the third man who walks beside you?" which is what prompted the phenomenon to be named the Third Man Syndrome. Can you hear the hum? The hum is a name often used to describe a low-frequency humming or rumbling that has been reported by hundreds of people around the world, and it sounds a little something like this. It's believed that around 2% of the world's population, which equates to around 16.2 million people, can hear this strange noise, and scientists are baffled as to why it occurs. The Midnight Game. Based on an old pagan ritual, this game is not for the faint of heart. The aim of the game is to evade the Midnight Man for 3 hours, and if he catches you, he will show you your worst fear. Throughout the night, you will have a candle, and the aim is to keep it lit between the hours of 12 and 3. If it goes out, and you can't relight it within 10 seconds, you have to surround yourself in a circle of salt. Like and comment if you wish to see a full tutorial on how to play the game, and subscribe for more. Do not enter this train tunnel alone. The Cadby Tunnel is known in Doncaster as one of its most haunted places. A young girl, known only as the Mexborough Ragger, took a shortcut through the Cadby Tunnel one day and was unfortunately hit by a train. Her body was not found for some time, and her grieving grandmother issued a public curse in Mexborough Market. She cried out, "All you who judge by appearance, beware. If any of you dare to call out my granddaughter's name again, a judgment will befall you." It is said that if you sit in the archway and say her name 3 times, she will appear to you. I myself have explored this tunnel, and although I did not get visited by the Mexborough Ragger, I can't say the night was uneventful. Like and follow for more. Have you ever seen this man? In January 2006, a patient of a New York psychiatrist drew a portrait of a man who had been repeatedly appearing in her dreams, sometimes giving her advice on her private life, but she swore she had never met this man before in her waking life. This seemed normal until another patient saw the picture and claimed to also recognise this man, saying he visited him in his dreams, and once again, saying he had never met this man while awake. Since that time, more than 8,000 people around the world have made claims that the man has visited them in their dreams, and yet not one claim has arisen that he has been seen in the waking world. From the road, 30 East Drive looks like any old council house. However, something extremely sinister is hiding behind those walls. This house, if you didn't know, is home to the most violent poltergeist in Europe, known as the Black Monk. This spirit has been known to lock people in rooms, throw knives, and even push them down the stairs. And if you're brave or stupid enough, you can pay to spend the night here. Like and subscribe for more paranormal content. The Dakota. This building is known as the most haunted building in New York. There have been thousands of reports in this building alone of ghost activity. One of the most notable events was John Lennon seeing a ghost at the Dakota. He referred to it as the Crying Lady Ghost, and he was killed shortly after he saw her. On December 8th, 1980, John Lennon was actually murdered in the main entrance of the Dakota. And that's just one of the ghostly encounters that people have here. Did you know that London Underground is filled with disused stations known as ghost stations? They gained the reputation of being extremely haunted due to being built on top of plague pits. The theory goes that when these stations were built, the fact that they disturbed these plague pits meant that the spirits were also disturbed and made their presence known. People would often see passengers that weren't really there on these trains, but also swear that they were just as real as they were. Have you ever seen something out of the corner of your eye and wasn't sure it was really there? Or felt like you were being watched in a completely empty room? Then you may have been visited by the shadow people. Not much is known about these entities, other than that thousands of people around the world report seeing them all the time. They're described as dark silhouettes with human shapes and profiles that flicker in and out of peripheral vision. The Hat Man is one of the most common figures that people see. Have you ever seen one of these shapes? Let me know in the comments below. Did you know the strange reason that cages were actually put around these graves? So a lot of these caged graves were actually coming from the ritual of burying vampires, or at least people who were believed to be vampires. Bodies would be found pinned to the ground and with rocks in their mouth. There was even one case of a woman being buried with a scythe across her throat, so if she raised from the dead, it would instantly slit her throat. Even though the belief in vampires has faded away, it's still pretty cool to see things like this left over. Men in Black is a film series that has become extremely popular over the years, but did you know that these characters are actually based on real life events? Conspiracy theorists claim that Men in Black are government agents dressed in black suits with no hair on their bodies so they can't be identified, and they interrogate, memory wipe, and sometimes even kill witnesses to UFO events.
The only comfort I can offer is my promise that tomorrow morning you won't remember a thing.
Stories of the Men in Black started to arise as early as 1947, but have since become extremely more popular due to the Will Smith franchise. Robert the Doll is known as one of the most haunted items in paranormal history. The doll was gifted to a young boy named Robert Eugene Otto in the early 1900s. He claimed that the doll had supernatural abilities which allowed it to move, change facial expressions, and giggle. More worryingly, the doll also apparently caused car accidents, broken bones, job loss, divorce, and a multitude of other misfortunes. The doll now resides in East Martello Museum in Key West, Florida, in a glass cabinet where it will probably stay for the rest of its life.